This is an extract from Something of the Night, read by the author, who's me, Ian Marchant. And this is kind of the second chapter, called Anything Could Happen. Although really it's the first chapter, because the first chapter is just a page. When I was a kid, anything could happen in the night. It very seldom did, but it could. In the night, I could play centre-back for Brighton and England. I could replace Macca on the bass guitar in the reformed Beatles. I could say hello to Jackie Sinclair, the girl of my dreams. In the night, Jackie Sinclair might drop by, unannounced. I could write a triple concept album based on her visit and hire an all-girl band to record it at Rockfield Studios. At night, anything was possible. When I was a kid, I loved going to bed because it meant that I would be alone. I wasn't there to sleep. I was there to read and play and dream. I was one of those spoddy kids who read under the covers. When I was 7, to my eternal shame, my mum caught me crying my eyes out to Enid Blyton's 5 Bad Boys by torchlight. Later on, I was similarly mortified when my old fella caught me relaxing with a copy of Parade, which I'd had away from my paper round. Nights just got better the older you got. Year after year and minute by minute, I stayed awake a little longer each night. I discovered that I was a night owl, though if there are day owls, I haven't heard them hoot. A friend of mine, a devoted adherent of evolutionary psychology, tells me that my ancestors were probably the kind of cavemen who sat around keeping the fire going, telling stories and generally guarding the women folk. So, I've never been much of a one for sleeping at night. Daytime has always been my preferred downtime, a fact which goes some way to explain a series of still embittered ex-employers. Night is therefore my most productive time, and I've tried to turn it to advantage. In the early 80s, I nearly hacked a precarious living as a rock singer, and I still head off now and then to do the odd gig. For a musician or an actor, this ability to be awake and perky at night is something of a sine qua non. If you like to be tucked up by 9, you can forget that ambition to be the next Olivier or John Lydon. As a single parent, nighttime was always the time that I could work. It was the time when I taught myself to write while the kids slept. Night is still a time of work. 20% of workers in the industrialised world work at night. The kids and the punters are tucked up in bed so the shelves can be stacked, the tube defluffed and the motorways repaired. There's a special quality to night shift work. Indeed, night shift workers see themselves as superior to the daytime bods. And night is our time of greatest playfulness and freedom, of love and romance. We go to pubs, nightclubs and all-night drinking dens. We go to cinemas, theatres and bingo balls. We go to night classes, dance lessons, the football and the dogs. Nightingales sing in Berkeley Square. We fall in and out of love. Our culture is full of the romantic, playful night. But perhaps as a result of increased playfulness and freedom, the night has become heavily politicised, as the idea that inner city areas are given over to drunken youth blossoms unchecked in the press and broadcast media. Still, there is truth mixed with the hysteria. It can be horrible out there at night. There's a half-eaten kebab, its gizzards strewn across the precinct slabs. There are hen parties in skimpy dresses and fairy wings being slammed into the back of a police van. There are young lads heaving up outside the KFC. Belisha beacons and ATMs are flashing on and off for no one. A faraway ambulance wails the estate to prayers and to bed. Crime is rife in the city night. So the night is also the site of our greatest danger. It's a time of crime and of transgressive sexuality. Prostitutes walk the streets. Doggers crack off in the car parks of daytime beauty spots. Businessmen go to lap dancing clubs to forget what waits at home. The police helicopter chatters overhead, chasing after lads, hurdling garden walls. Dealers deal in shadowy corners. The A&E department is full of the walking and aggressively drunk wounded. Night is when we are most likely to die, to commit suicide. And night is the time of our greatest fears. of ghosts and ghouls and vampires and werewolves, of night terror and night sweat, of bogeymen hiding in the wardrobe. Monks chant Compline in freezing cloisters to keep us safe from the old powers of the dark. Still, despite the horrors, the night is our time of rest and recuperation. We take up a hot water bottle, pull on our gym jams, snuggle under the duvet and blankets, breathe in the freshly laundered bedclothes, drink a soothing mug of Ovaltine and read our Dan Browns. By day, bed is itself transgressive, naughty, forbidden. It's where we steal a nap, and it's where Mum entertains the milkman. My mum did anyway. At night, bed becomes our refuge, a harbour from the dark and the cold fear of the looming unknown. And I may go late to bed, but when I do go, I sleep like a baby on barbiturates. Metallica could play outside my bedroom and I wouldn't notice. In fact, Metallica might be put off their chops by the volume of my snoring. At least I don't talk in my sleep anymore. We sleep to dream. In dreams, our unconscious is loose and doing what it will. We need sleep. We've evolved so that we need the night. Our circadian rhythms mean that our biological clocks are reset and our cells regenerate. We are born again night after night, and this we share with all life on the planet. The night is alive, the real night owls, the consumptive badgers, the eels that run up our rivers, the hateful slugs invisible by day. All kinds of creatures live their lives by night. During the day, our sense of wonder can be diminished. On the odd day when the clouds break, the blue of the sky serves as a reassuring ceiling which lets us focus on our lives. At night, we're confronted with the infinite nature of the universe as countless billions of stars mock us with our insignificance. It is the stars that remind us of our microscopic size. The night sky can confront us with the sheer pointlessness of our existence. The things that seem to matter so much in the sun hardly matter at all by starlight. Paul Bowles makes this point the central image of his novel, The Sheltering Sky. The sky hides the night behind it and shelters the people beneath from the horror that lies above. So unboundaried can our insignificance make us feel that we become gripped by night sweats, panic attacks, by the heebie-jeebies. I could die. I could stop breathing. How do you know that this breath isn't the last one? We can be overwhelmed by our imminent death. Philip Larkin knew that the darkest hour is just before dawn. In one of his last poems, O Bard, he comes awake in soundless dark to see death a day nearer. Perhaps, if he'd been more of a night owl, his childhood would have been less boring, and the nights full of horror. Thinking about the night, meeting people at night, travelling by night, I realised that most of the important events in my life had happened under cover of darkness. I wasn't just a bit of a night owl, I was a full-on creature of the night. As I've changed, so have my nights. And as I talked to people and read and wrote, my story and the story of the night became indistinguishable in my thinking. This is the story of my nights, and not, I suppose, everybody's. It must be faced. I have something of the night about me, as I came to understand.